This is Karen Edwards. We are on the soundstage at Skills USA in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm sitting here with John Kiesel from Division 7 Roofing and RT3.
That's right. Hello, Karen.
Yay,
Nice to see you
John!
here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be talking to you because you are amazing when it comes to giving back and working with the next generation of students. Can you just talk a little bit about why you're here?
I think it's just due to the just being drawn in, because when I started roofing, I was 17 years old. At one point, I was just like these young people out there trying to learn without the formal education process. It was learning by fire, a bunch of guys just beating it into you what to do. So I definitely support the concept of teaching people in an environment that's conducive to learning. So I just want to be here and watch this play out.
Yeah, so the competition has started. The competitors are directly across from us right now. How are they doing? You were walking around.
I think that they're doing great. Last year, the year before, I think they've started to progress and get a little bit better year after year. I'm seeing a couple people standing out already that I could probably say will probably be in the top three. So there's definitely a disparity of who's doing really, really good and who's struggling, but it's all about the training.
Yeah, it is. And you are a big part of that. And I want to touch on the technology too, because I mentioned RT3. And we have Roofing Technology Think Tank is here just because, yes, this is a trade. Yes, you know, they're installing a roofing system, but we want people to understand the types of technologies that are used nowadays in the roofing industry, right? It's not your dad's roofing industry anymore, right, John?
It's not. It really isn't. A lot of the things that go on up on roofs are unfortunately very familiar to me as what they were when I was starting in the industry. A lot of that hasn't changed, how to install roofs, but the processes in gathering information, being more accurate on the estimating side and the quality control side, that's where we're seeing the shift. So the drone imagery applications, the augmented reality are really helping us manage a little bit better and give us better insights.
Yeah, we should have brought the show and tell. John has a hard hat that's equipped with
Augmented
technology,
reality.
augmented reality. So can you explain what that is?
Yeah, it's actually a remote assist platform. So the person that would be out in the field would be wearing a hard hat with a
Oh,
look what just
here
showed
it
up. Here
is.
it is. So the person in the field would be wearing this hard hat with this glass piece in front of their eye, which is actually a screen. So you're actually going to screen share information to this glass piece and help guide and direct somebody that may be struggling with an issue, just to make that communication that much more effective versus just trying to describe what to do on the phone, which it kind of gets a little bit clunky. So it's essentially a TV monitor right in front of your eye that we can share information and dial things in.
Yeah, so if you've got maybe a more junior person that's working on a roof and runs into a problem, and you've got a more senior person in the office who maybe doesn't get on the roof anymore,
That's right.
they can be there.
Yeah, we're bridging that knowledge gap between who's starting and who has potential to somebody that does have that generational information, and that person can be more effective and direct 3 or 4 people without leaving the office. So we're not driving back and forth to job sites, having long-winded conversations about everything else in the world. It's just clear, concise, and the conversations are recorded within the system, so you can go back and you can review if the outcome wasn't what you thought. You can go back and replay the video, throw the replay flag and say, here's where I told you or I explained to you what we should do, and you said okay, and then somehow you did something different.
Yeah.
So we have tangible documentation on how to do things.
And how is your team at using this? Is adoption a challenge, or are you seeing them get a little more used to it?
Adoption is challenging, and I'm normally pretty good at forcing adoption into our company. This this particular device, we've used it on a few occasions, but getting it adopted has been a little bit of a challenge just because we have so many other things that are more critical right at this moment.
Right.
So when we have the right I guess point in time to put this in and make a difference, and the technology's changing
Yeah.
with a more sunglasses type of visualizer, so it's not a clunky apparatus that has a screen in front of your eyes. So there's some technology changes I'd like to see happen that just makes it that much easier for somebody in the field to want to wear it.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's cool. I'm glad that you're here. You're showcasing this because a lot of this next generation. I mean, they've grown up with technology.
Hmm.
It's gonna be in use every day, probably at some point in their jobs.
Yeah, it's like having a YouTube video. Everybody goes to YouTube Genius now. It's like we can just show them that video which they're used to learning from,
Yeah,
and they connect with that.
yeah,
So it's, there's a couple different ways of learning: telling, listening, reading, visually. So we try to connect the 3 or 4 different ways somebody can learn and be effective.
yeah, yeah. I
It's a lot
love
of
it.
fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. Well, thank you for being here, for taking the time, for getting yourself here. Nobody's buying your airfare. No, you're just coming here because you want to represent the roofing industry and reach that next generation of workers. That's really, really cool.
And thank you, Karen, for what you're doing in the industry as well, and all your team, and Heidi, and what you're doing with the coffee shop and RT3. It's really bringing a lot of change and awareness to the activities that are going on. It's going to make a difference long term. So thank you
Yeah.
too.
Oh, thanks, John.
Boom.
Woo! All right, we're not done yet. We're going to be doing some videos throughout the day, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.